Did you get into what price they wanted for the property?
I asked the question and they just said the same price that they wanted initially.
When they had this was an expired call, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, got it. What about loan balance?
Yeah. I asked how much was still owed on the house.
There's ways that we can be more efficient in our questions. I'll give you an example. Do you already have somebody somewhere that you're going to move? And then they'll say yes. And then your next question is, okay, where is it that you're moving to next? A lot of times that do you already have a place that you're going to move is an irrelevant. It's a question that you can ask, but there's faster ways to get to what you need to. And sometimes like let's say that I can get what I need with one question versus three questions, it makes the process a lot more enjoyable for the consumer. And sometimes when we're talking to people, if we have to ask three questions to get what we need, it makes it a less pleasant experience than when we have to ask one question. That thought just came to mind when you were doing the prequel, is being efficient. The next level for you would be being extremely efficient with the types of questions that you ask to get what you need with less questions. And that's like going to be the next level. The other thing, you asked her if she was planning on moving out of that the timeline was that she likely wanted to be out by before winter. And she
Mhm.
made a comment and she said it might be too late by now. To me, that was a pretty vague comment, but it also like is an important comment if she's saying it's too late to make it by then. That right there could mean a lot of different things. When things like that pop up, I wouldn't say like, "Oh, great, we'll talk about it when we meet." I'm trying to determine like, "Hey, look, like how can I best serve this person and can I still help them?" So that's going to be one of the questions that I would be like, "Okay, great. When you say that it might be too late, tell me what you mean by that." And just get a little bit more information on there. Because what if she says it might be too late and we're considering waiting until next year or something like that? Then you going out there wouldn't be as efficient use of your time, and you may not be able to help her basically. So it's one of those comments that whenever things like that come up, the purpose of the prequel, there are certain questions that you can push off, like price related questions, like, hey, look, when we meet, I'll take a look at the property, commission related questions, but other questions that they give a vague response. It's like it's better to dig into that to be able to understand what they need. And the last
Okay.
piece of feedback that I would say is, and this is what I would ask the person on the receiving end, like if they felt connected to you in any way, shape, or form. Did I get off of that conversation on the receiving end and be like, man, that was a really good conversation?
Okay.
That's what I would ask the other person. I felt like you're asking questions, but I don't think that there's any sort of connection in any way, shape, or form, or they're getting off the phone and be like, man, that was a freaking like, man, that was a great conversation. Because you got to remember, they're going to be having these conversations with like different people. They're gonna be having conversations with different people. So like some of the things that you can say to help them feel connected is like even things like, hey, good for you. Hey, congratulations on that. That must be exciting for you. Or even one of the questions that I like to ask in the prequel at the very beginning, right in that motivation section, is just, hey, look, like I know you said you're moving to Arizona. How are you feeling about the move? Like, are you excited? Are you nervous? I'm like really excited. You know, good. What's got you the most excited about it? Well, I'm going to get to be with my family, or I'm going to get to be with this. Or you know what? To be honest, I'm actually really nervous about this. But I would say
Okay.
that would be the next level for you, is figuring out ways to not only ask the questions, but for the consumer also when they get off the phone to be like, man, that was like the best conversation I've had with. I had somebody hang up with me the other day, and they were just like, I was not expecting that. I was expecting like just like a lowball cash offer in. I really enjoyed our conversation. And I'm like, thanks. I enjoyed it too. But now a lot of times what happens when you do that is that you become memorable, and in the future they're more apt to work with you even if they don't do business right now, because they're like, man, that was a really good conversation with this individual. But that's going to be
Okay.
the next level for you. Who wants to go
Royalties
next?
ready?
I'll role play. Okay. What are you gonna role play?
I want to still do the CMA portion of the listing presentation. So you can give me like, hey, what's the price? You know, I want to start higher. That kind of objection. I'm just gonna go straight to the
Yeah.
pricing part of it. So Mario, the good news is we only have 2 more things to look at today during the remainder of our time together. Number one, the level of motivation, which you were kind enough to share with me. You're very excited to move to Texas, and there's no question there. Correct?
Yep, we gotta get out of here.
Perfect. So the second thing we really need to look at is the price of what the marketplace is showing us. So what I brought with me today is what we call a comparative market analysis, which I also emailed to you beforehand. Were you able to take a look at it, Mario?
Not really. Been working a lot, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
I know, look, I know you're a busy guy, so don't even worry about it. So I did bring with me today on my iPad. So what we're going to be doing together as a team is we're going to be looking at this information through the lens of a buyer. And the purpose of this analysis is really to get not a pinpoint to the penny in terms of the price, but instead a very tight, realistic range as to what's reasonable. And from there, we'll talk about strategy and how to price the home. Does this approach make sense?
That's fine.
Perfect. We're going to cover 2 things, right? We're going to be looking at what's active on the home, not selling, which is going to be direct competitors. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at actual homes that's sold in the area. And we'll look at each picture to see, hey, this one's better than yours, or hey, mine is better than this one. And again, what's going to come at the end of the day is going to be a range. So we have here on the market, one of your neighbor is on the market at 900,000.
Mhm.
And what we want to focus here is not just the price, but we see here, you see that DOM right there?
Mm-hmm.
So that stands for days on the market. And we see that it's 90 days on the market. Okay, so that's one neighbor that's still there for 900,000. We see another one over here for 915. This one's
Mhm.
actually on the market for 120 days.
Mm.
Okay, now these are both 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 15 to about 1550 square
Okay.
feet. Would you say that's pretty similar to yours in size?
Yeah, I think we're 1580.
Got it. And then the lot size about, give or take 5,000. That's
Yeah.
about the same as yours.
Sounds about right. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So let's look at this one, 900. I mean, we look at the pictures. I mean, what do you think this one compares to yours in terms of the condition?
I mean, it seems similar. I know where that house is though. It's like right in between, it's on that other street in between the like, the bad street and then like another street. So yeah, I would say the condition is similar, but that location is just not like ours. We're pristine location.
Gotcha. So just location is the difference on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how about this other one at 915?
Yeah, mine's way better than that one.
Yours is better than that one. Okay, good. Well, what we can learn from these 2 active homes is that, they tested the market with their price and it's
Mhm.
not working because they haven't been sold yet. So just keep that in mind. These are who you're competing with. Now let's actually look at what's sold in the area. And there's I found 2 homes that was very similar to yours.
Mhm.
One that sold for 875
Mhm.
and another one sold for 870. Okay, and this is 3 months ago, and another one sold for a month ago, respectively.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's just look at the pictures here. What do you think you compared yours with this one here on Banana Street?
It's not a bad house.
Condition wise, what do you think?
It's hard to see, but I mean, it seems like it's similar. I'm not really
Mhm.
familiar with that house.
Okay. But in terms of condition, it's not too far off from yours, correct?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can't really see that. It seems like it's similar, but yeah, not too far off.
Got it. So this one actually sold for 875. Okay. And here's another one again, it's about 0.3 miles away from yours, sold at 870.
Mine's
So
definitely better than 871. You see that front? You see that color there? That's terrible color. I don't know.
the exterior
Terrible.
does.
Yeah, you know, we did that. We redid the toilets on this house, and we put in new electrical. You want me to go? You want to see the electrical sockets we just put in? Did I show you those?
I think, yeah, you mentioned over the phone. You can show me
Yeah.
later if that's okay.
Okay, all right, I'll show you later. But yeah, we just redid that, and then we remind you. Just want to remind you, we redid the whole kitchen.
Mhm.
You know, back in 06.
Mm-hmm.
So brand new kitchen.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that with me. So going back to the house, you said, okay, yours have a new electrical panel, newer kitchen, and I mean, I agree with you on the color of the house. It's freaking orange,
Yeah,
It looks pretty outdated. I agree with you on that.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. We got a beautiful blue here. You know, the guy at Home Depot, when I showed him the photos of it, he was just like, "Wow!" It was just thought it was amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree with you. So, after looking at this information, right, we saw the two homes that's active on the market, not selling.
Huh?
Seeing the two homes that actually sold in the area that's somewhat similar to yours.
Yeah.
I mean, having seen this data, Mario, where would you feel comfortable pricing your home where it's somewhat reflective of fair market value?
Well, I know what I know what my home is worth, right? So I was just wondering what you think it was.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. You said over the phone when we spoke the other day, your price was how much again that you were looking for?
I said, at least like 900, 950, just because of all the work we've done. So that's, I think, we're in that ballpark. I know Zillow has it at 925,
Mhm.
and I think Redfin is off. I never trust that company anyway. I know that they're lower, but but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. You can't go
Gotcha.
wrong with a house like this, man.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I know you were kind enough to share with me. Obviously, you did some homework. You looked at Zillow, right? You said that Zillow was popping what, 925, you said?
Yeah, I mean, it may have gone down these last couple of days, but I'm sure that I saw it like at least one time this week hit like 925, 950.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And look, and here's a feeling that I'm getting
Yeah.
from, right, is that, look, you put in a lot of work to the house. There's
Uh-huh.
obviously sentimental value. You guys lived there for what, 25 something years,
Yes.
right? So I completely respect where you're coming from. Now, at the same time, what usually helps in this process is to look at the same data, right?
Mhm.
This time around, instead of looking at it from a seller's perspective, let's look at it again from a buyer's perspective. So, what I mean by that is, let's just say you're a buyer, Mario, okay? And I'm your agent. I'm taking you to a couple homes. We walk into this one, and you said, look, Roji, I freaking love this home. Checks all the boxes. I'm ready to write an offer right now. Before I write the offer, Roji, I want you to show me what I've actually sold in the area so I know what a fair market offer would look like. So, as your agent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the same exact data that we looked at earlier, right? What I actually sold, what I on the market right now. I mean, honestly, Mario, if you to write an offer on your own home all over again, and having seen this information, honestly, where would you feel comfortable writing an offer that is somewhat reflective of fair market value?
I mean, my house is great, man. So if once they get to know my house, I'm just looking for somebody that's trying to get me at least a 920. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I knew if this was like a year ago, I probably would have got $1 million. But yeah, I would say 920,
Mhm.
950. I mean, you see, do you like my house?
Yeah, I love your house, man. Here's what I think. If I was a buyer and we seen the two homes that sold for 870 and 875, right? That was somewhat similar to yours in size,
Mhm.
somewhat similar to yours in condition, in the same area.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, seeing those two sold for 870, 875, would you actually pay 920 on your home?
Who, you or me? Are you talking? I'll pay 920. Yeah.
Here's what we can see from this data, right? Is now we have a clear range as to what people bought and sold, which is somewhere between 870, maybe like 880. Okay. So now
Mhm.
I want to talk to you about, I want to review with you the pricing strategy that we have at your disposal.
Hey, before you go down that route, Roji, like, good job, bro. Because you're going down the route, but you haven't like actually rectified the issue with the price.
Mm.
And you're trying to go down and isolate, right? So, which I get, and I see where you're going. So a few things. One, good job.
Which at this point, it's obvious what the issue is.
It is obvious what the issue is. Yeah. So price.
There's no reason for the three things because it's very
Yeah.
obvious what you guys are not
In alignment on.
communicating in alignment.
Yeah. And it's also clear, like, you just didn't know where to go from there on how to get alignment or how to like politely front. So as a result, you're going there. So two things. One, good job for hanging in there, bro. I was laughing out loud to hear Mario, bro, because you know how many appointments I've been on where that's happened. They're like, well, oh yeah, dude. Oh, I have like ducks that swim in my swimming pool, bro. It's got to be worth like $100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so realistic, dude. I saw Jose smiling too. So good job for not like breaking and laughing and whatever, right? But that's real, right? I saw somebody else put a thing in there like, yeah, dude. Anybody who's been on a lot of appointments knows that's not uncommon. But I need you to understand what's happening. And I also took some notes and I'll give you some feedback. So what are we witnessing live? Well, what we're witnessing are these psychological quirks that we all have as humans. Okay. And the first psychological quirk, if you really want to get good at presenting, you need to understand behavioral psychology. Because like everybody's like, oh man, that's so realistic. Well, how is it that all of us are agents all throughout the United States, all in different geographic areas, all in different price points, but everybody's saying the same thing? How's that possible? Well, because we're all human beings. And we all have these very specific psychological quirks in thinking. If you want to learn more about them, there's a couple books you can read. One is called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Another one is called Sway, the Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior. And this will help you to not feel judgmental or angry or upset when people start to speak this way or behave this way as it pertains to value, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but at the beginning of my career, bro, I used to get angry at people when they behave like that. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what do you mean you don't see this? Are you dumb? Like, right? But then I understood through, learning behavioral psychology. So here's what they are. The first is the endowment effect. What the endowment effect is the psychological quirk in thinking, which is that if it's mine, it's better. My stuff is stuff and your stuff is crap. Yeah. They've actually done like quantifiable, measurable testing where if you touch, let's say like a coffee mug for like a minute, you will actually pay more for that coffee mug than you will one you haven't touched. Because you start to imbue it with like ownership, like this is mine, and because it's mine, it's better.
Now, keep this in mind. I've been to cowboy stores or stores where they're selling shoes, and one of the questions that they'll ask is, "Do you want to try them on?" Why do they ask that? They know that if you try it on, the probability of you buying it goes up
dramatically. So I had the same thing when I was working at Circuit City, where that used to be like a straight commission job, right? And in part of our training, what they would tell us to do is be like, hey, do you want to touch the CD player? Like, do you want to, here, go ahead and touch it and play with it? Or like, touch the phone and see how it works and whatever, right? So the same thing, because you start to imbue it with meaning. So what possibly can we imbue with more meaning than our physical residence that we live in, right? In terms of like, it's mine, so therefore it's better. So you're hearing that in his language, yes? And we're hearing that in language for owners all across the country. How could that possibly be? Are they reading from the same script? No, it's a psychological quirk in thinking that we all possess. And you guys do the same thing, by the way. We all do it. The second thing is motivated reasoning. Okay? So you'll notice he was ignoring all evidence when he really wanted something to be true or needed it to be true. He ignored all evidence to the contrary, and he sought out evidence that supported his belief. Yes? He ignored everything, and what did he have? He had a reason to push him away, every single one. Yes? And then he would point to the one that sold 6 months ago for this amount. Yeah? He's doing motivated reasoning. He's ignoring evidence to the contrary of his belief that he wants or needs to be true. And he's heat-seeking, trying to find and latching on to evidence that would support his belief. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the foundation that you need to understand. That's the context for the feedback I'm about to give you, right? So a couple of things I wrote down. first is like this language, like your price. When you use terms like yours and mine, what does that set up?
A wall.
That's an adversarial conversation, yes? Yours versus mine. So instead of that, what other language pattern could we use that would make it different and would extract you from the equation?
A market.
Yes, team. And I was like, don't do it. And then you were like, your price. I'm like, oh, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Nope. So yeah, I'm very clear that your expectation was somewhere around 875 or somewhere around 925. At the same time, I don't need to tell you, because I know you know this already, particularly with guys like that, right? Because how many people have met a guy like that before? Or a gal like that? Yeah, we all have, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't need to tell you. What something's worth is ultimately what something's willing to pay for it, right? What buyers and sellers have been agreeing to. So having looked at this information, the marketplace is showing us somewhere around this, and this seems to be reasonable, right? So don't get into that like yours and mine. The second thing I wrote down, which is really important for you, Roji, is acknowledging is different than agreeing. I heard you actually say out loud multiple times, I agree with you. Your Smurf blue is dope. It's like, no. That's different acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is like, I understand. I see where you're coming from. That makes sense. I see how you would certainly, come to that conclusion, or you could feel that way. Notice, I'm acknowledging what you said. I am not agreeing with you. Those are two different things, you see? You're like feeding him. He was pushing you on why his home is worth more, and you're like, yeah, I agree with you. Multiple different times. So you got to be mindful of that, right? Then he asked you, he's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, don't say what I think. And you were like, what I think? And I'm like, oh, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Instead of what I think, he's like, well, what do you think? Well, I appreciate you asking. And, I take that responsibility really seriously, which is to protect the value of your property and help you get top dollar, quickly and efficiently. And having reviewed this information, very closely, seeing what's active on the market and not selling, and seeing what's sold and closed most recently, the marketplace, yes, seems to be showing us somewhere around blank is reasonable. Now, before you even get there, I would circle back at him again, which you did, but you didn't do it in a different way. You basically asked him the same question twice. So when you're like, yeah, if you were a buyer and you were going to buy this home all over again, having seen what's active on the market, not selling, seeing what's sold and closed most recently, realistically, where do you think you'd feel comfortable making an offer that you believe would be reflective of fair market value? And then he didn't answer. He tried to worm out. And you basically went back and asked him the same thing, but I would ask it a different way. I'd be like, yeah, I get that. And, if you were a buyer, I imagine, you may pay a little more for this home. I mean, honestly, Mario, do you think you would really pay $100,000 more than the most recent sale? Quiet. It's polite confrontation. And I love you, bro. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? Most people desperately avoid confrontation at all costs. And I was watching you do that. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, we could start at year 900. I'm like, no, don't do that, bro. What are you doing? No. Desperately avoiding confronting him, and that's why you didn't get anywhere, right? The other thing I noticed if you went back and listened to it when it goes on my YouTube channel, is I noticed as you were delivering information, you had like this apologetic tone. Like you were sorry for something that the marketplace is doing. Why are you sorry for that, bro? I remember I was on a call with a seller one time. He got so mad. I'm like, look, dude, I understand your frustration, and I recognize that you need an outlet for it. You're pointing it towards me, and it's your prerogative to do that. I don't believe that it's in the right place. Instead, what you should do is open up your window and yell at all your neighbors, because they're the ones who've agreed to what, offers that people have made. So I heard you like you were apologizing for it. Like, and your voice would almost like disappear. You'd be like, yeah, it's like 875. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you afraid? Like, if you say it, it's gonna like you're gonna explode or something? Like, I don't understand. Right? So like just be mindful of like when you're presenting information or politely confronting, I'm watching you shrink away from it. I can hear it. Because it's uncomfortable, or maybe you gulp down as a younger person that like, confrontation is bad, or like telling people information that they don't like to hear is bad, and it's naughty, or it's like disrespectful or not nice. So I'm watching you kind of that conflict internally, and it's showing up in like your tonality and your voice, right? And then he said something which was this massive opportunity, and you got to it afterwards, but it took took a little too long. Where he was like, yeah, you know, he said it really quick in passing, right? He was like, yeah, you know, truthfully, like I'd want to be there already because my wife's already there. And then he just went over it. Ooh, no. That little pain, you know what I want to do with that pain? I want to take this finger and stick it right in that pain. I'd be like, wow, that's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that. Well, yeah, you know, she left already. Like, wow. And I have to imagine that wasn't your initial goal and objective, was it? Well, no. And then you asked the good question. You're like, well, tell me this. What would happen on the outside chance if we were still sitting here, you know, 6-7 months from now and the home wasn't sold? What would that mean for you and your family? He's like, oh, that wouldn't be good, but like, I don't think that's going to happen or whatever. It's like, yeah, I get that. And let me think about this. Like, are you seriously considering not being with your family during the holidays? Is that a serious consideration for you?
It's a great question.
That's the bruise, right?
Oh, you know what that is? Look at me. Mm-hmm. All that nonsense that you're doing, that in a very polite way, I'm putting on a nice velvet glove. I'm going to smash you in the face.